Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? Of course, my name is Kent, and the channel is EOS San Diego, and I talk about the blockchain every single night on this channel. Mainly because I want to keep everybody updated on what's going on with EOS, including myself. Every night that I have to prepare for this video, I do some research on EOS. That research leads me to be able to follow a lot of information about EOS and keep up to with EOS and know exactly what's going on. And I specifically do nothing but EOS. I don't do all the blockchains. We're here on CoinMarketCap. There's a lot of different cryptocurrencies here I could cover. I don't cover them. Even though I do look at them, I don't cover them. I specifically stay with EOS. The main reason I'm specifically staying with EOS is because EOS has scalability and it has zero fees for transactions. I believe those two elements of the blockchain need to have to be there for the blockchain to be successful. So that's why I'm exclusively EOS blockchain content follower, and that's why I put EOS blockchain videos up every night. And that's why when you see my titles for my videos, it usually starts with EOS, because I want the EOS to be the first thing in the title, because I want people to find it, and also because I want to be known as somebody that follows exclusively EOS. I could put other things in my titles and probably talk about Bitcoin or XRP or Stellar or Tether or Litecoin or Tron or Cardano or a ton of other cryptocurrencies, and try to gain a bigger audience, grow my YouTube channel to bigger people, more people watch it. But I don't do that because I've pretty much decided to stay with EOS exclusively, and let the channel grow as the EOS community grows. I could care less really how many subscribers I have. If I had 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, doesn't really matter to me, because I'm focusing on this one blockchain. And I know this one blockchain will grow, and I'm going to grow with it. So that's why I'm exclusively EOS. So what we've got going on here today is we got EOS is up a quarter to 243, 2.43. Reasonably good day. What I really want to talk about tonight, though, is I want to talk about this bill. This HR 7356. It's called Token Taxonomy Act. This is a bill right now that has been, it's a bipartisan bill. What I mean by bipartisan, it means a Republican, this Warren Davidson, and a Democrat, Darren Soto, have brought this bill forth to Congress. So it's bipartisan, meaning both parties have someone bringing this bill forward. It's bipartisan. Both the Democrats and Republicans are introducing this bill. This is a very, very good thing to have happen. And this is leading the way for the future of cryptocurrency and the future for cryptocurrencies to be mass adoption, to be widely used by everybody. What this bill is, and I'll read it a little bit here. The Token Taxonomy Act was introduced Thursday by these two representatives that sought input about regulatory measures for the industry. According to the text, the bill, among other things, seeks to exclude digital tokens from being defined as securities, amend both the Securities Act of 1933 and the Securities Act of 1934. There's a reason why those two acts are 1933, 1934, because they took place right after the Great Depression. So this was the government's way of remedying some of the issues of why the country went into the Great Depression. So they came up with the Securities Act of 1933, 1934. Later on in the late 40s, there was a Supreme Court case called the Howey test that would pretty much say that everything is a security. If you're investing money and you're expecting a return, the Security and Exchange Commission wants to regulate it. So they call it a security. That has a wide range of impacts on cryptocurrencies. So if you're out raising money for a cryptocurrency, for an idea, an ICO, it can be classified as a security. If it's classified as a security, it's got to be registered as a security. If it's registered as a security, it becomes very expensive. I think I read someplace that the least expensive ICO that you could do in today's world was around $7 to $12 million. So if you're going to do an initial public offering, not an ICO, I'm sorry, initial public offering, an IPO. Get those two mixed up in my mind all the time. An initial public offering, the minimum amount you would need to raise in order to do that would be $5 to $10 million, just to be able to do all the Security and Exchange Commission's rules and regulations and comply with all the compliance that's required of that. You'd be spending millions and millions and millions of dollars. So that's why you don't want to have those rules govern the coin industry, the cryptocurrency industry. It's going to become very expensive, and it's going to limit those people that can invest in this. So the fact that they're introducing legislation that would keep the cryptos away from these security rules and acts of 1933 and 1934, and all the regulation and all the different regulatory entities involved, and all the Reg Ds and 504s and all the other stuff that's required for a security to be traded publicly, they're coming up with legislation not to have to do that. So let me read just a little bit further, because there's a very important word here we've got to stay focused on, and that's why I am so interested in how we continue forth with the way the block producers are put in place, and how we vote for block producer, and how block producers should have to be independent. I've talked about this on many of my videos. But it says that the definition has several components, all of which center around a degree of decentralization in which no one person or entity has control over an asset's development or operation. This ostensibly would be clear the way for cryptocurrencies that don't have a central controller to be spared a securities designation. Okay, so in other words, it's got to be decentralized. I read very closely the ruling on Ethereum when they thought Ethereum could possibly be a security, and it focused very heavily on the decentralization of Ethereum, and of course through the mining of Ethereum, where anybody could mine Ethereum, it was basically determined to be a decentralized system, so that it could not be classified as a security. This is the same thing as with EOS. EOS has to remain decentralized. You cannot have groups of block producers working together to make it a centralized system. That means that these rules and regulations will apply if it's deemed decentralized. So it has to be decentralized. It cannot be decentralized. It cannot be centralized. The more centralized it becomes, the further it gets away from legislation like this. Okay, so right here, going deeper, digital tokens, according to the text, has a transaction history that is recorded. This is the definition of a blockchain. Has a transaction history that is recorded in a distributed digital ledger or digital structure in which consensus is achieved through a mathematically verifiable process, and after consensus is reached, cannot be materially altered by a single person or a group of persons under common control. That's what I'm talking about. You can't have this common control. You can't have all these people lockstep together in a way that they are all tied together in some way financially, or they have some way of everybody being connected. Is capable of being traded or transferred between persons without an intermediate custodian. That's the blockchain. That's what it is. That's what we're talking about. The other thing that I was interested in reading here, it says the bill provides, right here, I'm going to read it from right here. This bill provides that certainty American markets need to compete with Singapore, Switzerland, and others who are aggressively growing their blockchain economies. Davidson said in the statement, to be certain, there will be other regulatory initiatives at some point, but this legislation is an initial step, or is an essential first step to keeping this market alive in the United States. And then they go on and they talk about some other stuff. There's some, when you sell a cryptocurrency, it triggers some tax code rules where they automatically it triggers something where it could be a capital gain, and they're also trying to raise that to $600. So there's some other things with the IRS that's going on here too, but basically they're talking about making this cryptocurrencies not securities and telling you that it's got to be a decentralized system. That's what EOS is. And that's what I hope EOS maintains and can that decentralization and maintains this, because this is the future. This is paving the way for a new way of things to be done on with banking and with everything else, decentralizing everything and keeping everything or having everything being recorded on a blockchain. This is very important legislation. I think it's something that's going to propel the future, and it's also going to propel the price. So this is very good stuff to be keeping an eye on. So I made a video last night about how Wyoming as a state is paving the way for future cryptocurrency rules to be able to be more friendly towards cryptocurrencies. Now we see it in the U.S. Congress. That's another way. So this is going forward. Hopefully these bills pass and the United States adopts these favorable cryptocurrency rules that keep us from being securities. And then we hope that EOS continues to be as decentralized as possible, and the cryptocurrency continues to grow and continues to be a bigger and bigger part of our economy. So anyway, I think these are very important rules, are very important laws that we need to keep an eye on, and also support those people that are actually writing and voting on these laws, because it's helping to keep crypto in a place to where it can really prosper and gain and get overall mass adoption. So anyway, I thought that was an important video and I wanted to bring it to you. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll be talking to you again tomorrow night. Thank you very much.